How are we doing, everybody? Daniel here with Buzz Gun Shop and Range, just to kind of go over somewhat of a mini seminar that we have here that we're going to start bringing back to you all. Is today we're going to talk about the most common thing we get here. People buy guns from us all the time, but cleaning is one of the things that we have a lot that comes up. So I'm going to answer this question now. The main thing I get asked all the time is how much and how often should I clean my gun? Well, there's no real right answer to that. Just for the simple fact, and everybody's going to start going nuts about this, each gun is different. If two people were to buy the exact same gun, one person might use their gun more than the other person would. So there might be different levels of maintenance that are needed. The main thing is that, one, you can always refer to your owner's manual to tell you how often that the manufacturer recommends cleaning it. The other thing that I always pose as a question to people is, if your life depends on something like this, how often do you feel like you need to clean it? Whatever you kind of answer, that's about generally what you should probably do. My advice, if you're going to use the gun and your life depends on it, I at least check it every week just to make sure things aren't broken with it, because even though I know quite a bit about firearms, you normally see what's going on with your gun before I do. So that way you kind of know what's happening more about it than I do. You figure this stuff out by doing the preventative maintenance, cleaning it, working with it. So life depends on it at least once a week. If it's a gun you only use for target shooting, once a month is enough to suffice. The main thing is that you're looking to make sure that your recoil springs aren't broken, your gun's in good working order, that you don't put it up somewhere and then all of a sudden it starts rusting off, because then a rusted gun's just pretty much a boat anchor that you can smack an intruder with. But you want to make sure your stuff works, okay? So that's my answer to that question as far as how much you need to clean it. There's all different types of answers, opinions, things that you get. Again, this is my opinion on what I think you should or should not do. Find your own answer, work with it from that. The main thing is you just need to do some type of maintenance on your gun, especially if your life depends on it. Now, cleaners. We are in an age where there is a plethora of cleaners that are out there, from all different manufacturers, all different kinds, all different types of things that are out there. So which cleaner is the best? Well, there's a lot of answers to that one. The main thing is, I was in the military. Military's used the same thing for a long time. CLP. CLP has been the main thing that they've used for a long time. CLP, cleaner, lubricant, protectant. It doesn't have to just be Lucas. There's all different types of brands and manufacturers that are out there. The main thing you're looking for are those three letters. CLP stands for cleaner, lubricant, and protectant. Does almost everything you want to in one container versus having to buy an actual cleaner, an actual gun oil, an actual protectant. Just saves you some money on that. So you can buy one and it does quite a bit for you. Now, I'm going to clean mine, and you're going to say, well, you're using two different ones. That's just because I'm a little bit paranoid with mine, but one will work sufficiently for all of them. Now, with that.
So we had somebody ask, what if you never fire it?
So what if you never fire it? That's a good question. So if you never fire it, no matter where you live at, there's this terrible thing that guns hate. It's called humidity, okay? Guns have metal in them, somewhere in them, okay? Now, with these, rust is a natural enemy to these guns. So you still need to take it out and take a look at it, just to make sure, one, that it's not rusting up, two, that there's no damage to it, and also, you just want to kind of know that your investment is going to be protected. So I still at least recommend doing it once a month, maybe once every 2 months. Just you want to try and look at it, make sure that everything's okay. Even if it's just as simple as taking it out, looking at it, making sure there's no rust on it. I like pulling it apart just because, again, I like having clean guns. I never know which one I might need, so I like being able to pull them apart and use them all as best I can. So, again, that's up to you. If you never shoot your gun, at least clean it every so often. You just want to break it apart, do that preventative maintenance, make sure it's still working. So, good question. If you all have any more, please send them out. They'll ask me that halfway through. We're doing all this stuff, and I'll answer all those questions for you all. All right, so cleaners. All these cleaners come in different varieties, forms. You've got aerosol forms, you've got liquid forms, you've got grease forms, all different kinds of them. The main thing is that they all generally do about the same thing. There's some pros and some cons to different kinds. Aerosols are a little bit easier to apply as far as overall cleaning. Greases last a little bit longer, and they're somewhat a lot less goes a lot further. Sorry, I'm getting kind of tongue-tied here. But the main thing is that you want to try and make sure you have something that does cleaner, lubricant, protectant at the same time. Now, if you have a grease, you wouldn't want to try and clean your gun with that grease, just because that'll turn into a huge mess and cause a huge headache. So be kind of aware of what you're getting with that. Now, the stuff I'm using today is just an aerosol. This stuff we have from Lucas is their Extreme Duty. We sell it here in the store, but main thing again, I wouldn't really care what this stuff says. I just want it to say CLP for me. But I'm going to kind of run you through how I clean my gun. There's all different types of accessories and stuff you can get too. I'll show you the bare bones of what you need to actually clean a gun effectively with what you can buy. So you don't have to go out and buy this big old kit if you only have one gun. So, but if you have multiple guns like me and you're paranoid and you have so many guns, and it just makes it easier having the big kits. But if you have one gun, this is the stuff that you'll need to clean it. Okay, so starting off, CLP. Okay, some type of brush, just because if you look at all these guns, there's all sorts of tiny nooks and crannies that are through here that I have big old fat fingers that can't really fit in there all that well. So having this toothbrush just kind of gives you that added benefit of getting in those hard to reach places and cleaning out all that stuff. All right, so the last thing that I have, well, sorry, two more things. One, some type of cloth, just because I can wipe off only so much with my hands until they keep getting dirty and just keep transferring dirt. Having cloths are nice to kind of help get all that stuff off. Super fancy cloths, old t-shirts, that stuff works great. So this is a bore brush. Okay, this thing is nice just because in most cleaning kits you have the actual brush assembly itself, then you have some type of patch system you have to use. This one does it all in one. The main thing that I love about this thing is that this part pops off, throw it in a sock, you can clean it, your clothes smell like CLP, smells amazing. I'm surprised nobody's made a cologne of that yet. I would wear it. Make me that cologne. So, anyways, going back to this stuff. So, cleaning a gun. First things first, safety I'll consider. Ammunition needs to be as far away from this as possible just because ammo likes to get shot, and it'll try and find its way back in here. A lot of firearms you actually have to pull the trigger to disassemble them. Some are starting to put safeties where you don't, but better safe than sorry. So, ammo as far away as we can. I'm going to kind of just run through this very quickly, just because if you all want to see more about this stuff, feel free to give us a shout, ask us some more questions, or we offer classes here that we can kind of help you get clean, or come ask our range guys here, we'll help you walk through it. So, I'm just going to kind of run through this very quickly. Whenever I start cleaning my gun, I tend to start with my barrel, just because I want the cleaner to kind of get in there and break up all the stuff that's in the bores. Next, I start kind of doing a visual inspection. Recoil spring, just kind of make sure everything looks good on it, kind of wipe it down. Main thing I'm looking for to make sure that nothing's destroyed on here. This is your recoil spring. Each one's going to look somewhat different. Different wear, different tear, how they're used. This is a gun I just shot suppressed this morning, so my gun gets used different. So I'll know what my stuff looks like, whether it's broken or not. So you're just kind of inspecting to see how it looks. Alright, now, on this lower portion, this is my warning to you all. Okay, so if you all see inside of here, there's all sorts of pins and all sorts of stuff that's in here. If you don't know how to take it apart, please don't start taking stuff out of here. Okay, there's a reason manufacturers say don't do that. There's a lot of stuff that goes into this, and it's very complicated to put back together. So leave it in there. Okay, taking this apart, you don't really have to pull all this stuff out to clean it. You can still clean it just from up here. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is just kind of get as much of the big carbon off as I can. If you're cleaning your gun and you think that you're going to get all that carbon out there, I've got some bad news for you. You're going to be here a long time if you think you're going to do that. And I promise you, with as many small nooks and crannies that are on here, it's not all going to come out. So, main thing while you're cleaning all this stuff is you're just trying to look and make sure that everything looks intact, nothing looks broken. All of your stuff seems like it's in good working order. Springs where they're supposed to be. You'll start kind of learning this after a while once you get more comfortable with your guns. Just take some time, kind of like dating your gun. You just want to get to know it, get to know what it likes, doesn't like, stuff like that. So, work on cleaning the gun. And like I said, I'm just doing kind of a broad general clean, not as detailed as I normally would. Alright, focusing on the slide, okay? The slides, which houses a lot of important stuff. Primarily right here. I'm trying to see where you can see that. Right there. This is where your bolt face is, or your breech face is on the firearm. This is where your firing pin actually comes out. You want to make sure this is clear of all dirt, debris, things of that nature, because if that's blocked and you squeeze the trigger, guess what? No boom. Okay? So, this is where I love using my toothbrush, just because, again, fat fingers can only do so much. So I just use my toothbrush, try to scrub all through here. which this one's saturated in CLP, but just want to kind of break all this stuff up just to try and make it a little bit nice and clean. So,
What lube are you using?
so right now this brush is soaked because my Ranger guy soaked it with this CLP. This is pretty much the only stuff we use. There's other cleaner that's out there like this contact cleaner. Be careful with some of this stuff. Read the contents and make sure it doesn't have, I forgot what the technical name of it is. This stuff doesn't have it. But some of this stuff when it comes out can have bleach in it. The bleach will discolor your guns. So be careful. I know this Lucas oil doesn't have this stuff in it, so I trust this stuff to put on my guns. This is more if you have some really tough grit on it, spray this on it, it just melts away. But I know this gun doesn't have all that on it. Alright, so brush here soaked in some, got a little bit of CLP on it just to kind of get into my extractor, get into that bolt face. Now a question I get asked all the time in here. Do you spray this stuff in here? No. The reason being, you see all those tiny holes that are in there? Sorry, wrong camera. All those tiny holes that are in there? If you spray all this cleaner in there and all that carbon starts coming off, it's got to go somewhere. If I'm holding it like this, where do you all think that's going to go? Back in those holes, right? Well, one of these holes right here, I can move my fingers out of the way, right here goes straight to my firing pin. So if I spray this stuff down with cleaner and all that runs in there and I don't get to clean that out, guess what the carbon's going to do when it dries out? It's going to harden up. After so many times of that hardening up, my firing pin's not going to want to move at all. So I got a gun that doesn't work. Then you got to bring it to me. I pull it apart, clean it, and I give it back to you. But don't do that. Okay, so if you feel like you need to put cleaner on here, spray it on this. Okay, it will transfer onto this, but I don't think I need that. So just gonna kind of scrub through here a little bit. Any other questions come through? Okay, cool. All right. So I've kind of scrubbed off as much of it as I feel like I'm going to get for right now. I'll do a more in-depth clean later. But main thing you're trying to look for, make sure that you've got no carbon building up through there. And if you all ever want to know what carbon looks like, we can post pictures on it. Just give us a shout in the comments and we'll put some pictures up for you of what some built up carbon looks like. I'll pull apart a bunch of my range guns and show you. But kind of clean all this stuff off. The outside, I'm not as worried about it looking pretty because the outside doesn't really bother how the mechanics work on the inside. Alright, now my last part, my barrel. Okay, my barrel, the main thing that I want to look for is if you ever look down your barrel, please take it out of the gun first. Don't look down the end of the barrel with it in the gun. Bad idea. Take it out of the gun, okay? If you look down it, you'll see a whole bunch of the spirals that are in there. That's what actually gives your bullet its actual twist when it's going through the air. That gets too built up with carbon, pretty much your bullet will come out and just right there at the end. So we want to make sure that we give enough time for a cleaner to get in there and kind of break apart all that stuff that's in there. So once it's had a good enough time to kind of get in there, break all that stuff up. I'm getting a little OCD here, sorry. But once we get enough time to kind of break up in there, take our nice little bore snake here. This is why I like these. These make it significantly easier. Because all I gotta do is, look at that, I did all 3 of my steps in one. But again, I'm OCD, so I do it 3 times. Sorry.
So how often do you clean yours?
So I am in the habit, well I used to be. Now I have too many guns and I shoot too many, don't judge me. But normally I used to clean them every time I shoot them. I've kind of gotten away from that just because time. I don't have a whole lot of time to sit down and clean guns. So, normally, I try and stick in the habit. I clean mine normally every time I shoot them, but now I at least once a month pull all my guns out and I start cleaning them one at a time. But for me, that's about a 2.5 day process, so I have a lot more to clean. But
is that after every use?
no, not after every use. It's more, if it depends on how much I run through it. If I run about 1,000+ rounds through it, yeah, I'll probably break it apart. But if I just do a magazine, no, I'll wait a little while and then I'll probably go through it at the end of the month. But if I do some heavy use through it, yeah, I'm going to clean it. Just because normally I've put a lot of wear and tear in it. I've done a lot of stuff. And I just primarily am more not focused on the cleaning aspect, making sure that my gun's still in good working order. Alright, so. Alright, putting it back together. Just go back together the opposite way that you took it apart, which if you all need help with that, a good place to find that is in your owner's manual that came with the gun, because that will tell you just about everything you need to know about it. Or if in doubt, YouTube has some pretty okay sources. Just kind of check your sources. Like, we're a great source. But also, be careful what you look at YouTube because anybody can make a YouTube page. Okay? So, just be careful kind of what you're looking at. Okay. But be careful the sources that you're looking at just because anybody in a garage can kind of say, hey, I know what I'm doing, and then they teach you how to break your gun. So, that's me kind of cleaning my gun. Okay? This is only about a quarter of the stuff we carry here in the store. We've got all sorts of stuff. That, I'm sure you all have been into your local hunting stores, things of that nature, and there's all sorts of stuff everywhere. Find the stuff that works best for you, that you feel the most comfortable with. The main thing is having some cleaner on is better than running the gun dry. Running the gun dry can cause some problems, which I know there's people that are going to fight me on it. Terrific, but I've seen what some stuff can do. Dry guns don't really run that well. They normally have problems. We joust them in CLP, they run just fine. So that's kind of the overall thing with cleaning. If you all have any questions or stuff like that, we'll keep checking the comments even after we get done with this. So feel free to shoot us some more comments. Give us a call here at the store. Feel free to give me a call. They'll just tell them, hey, you want to talk to me, and I'll be more than happy to try and answer them as best I can. But we appreciate you guys coming and watching us. We're going to be doing a lot more of these live mini seminars. I don't know when we have the next one scheduled, but we're going to have all sorts of them rolling out. I think we're doing some more AR stuff again. All different kinds of stuff, but you're going to start seeing a lot more of us here at the store, so we look forward to working with you all. But come check us out here at the store. We'll be more than happy to help you all here in the store.
What about older guns and bluing? Does